Progress can start with some of the smallest steps, like a community garden or starting a business or even just cleaning up your street. And progress is also showing in public safety. Violent crime is actually down in St. Louis.
But the data doesn't necessarily tell the story behind the reality of crime going down. For the last 2 years, St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore has been working to staff up, and now he's hitting the streets with his own staff, his own prosecutors. Actually got to hit the streets with them recently as we were in the Shaw neighborhood, taking a look at how he's looking to build relationships with folks block by block.
Shaw's a wonderful place to be.
Dave Aubrey has called the Shaw neighborhood home for more than a decade.
And if you see it, you know, you're just like, wow, how is this urban neighborhood surrounded by nature like it is?
He says neighbors are concerned about violent crime and want to know the truth, not false information circulating on social media. One example, the shooting death of a neighbor, Chris Brennan, in 2024.
The perpetrator had been breaking into garages in daylight, robbing small coffee shops. And so if we had been able to get that information to the circuit attorney faster as neighbors, I think it could have prevented ultimately that horrible tragedy.
That's why he backed Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore's new neighborhood collaboration to bring prosecutors directly into neighborhoods. Aubrey says this is about speed, getting information to prosecutors before the next crime happens.
We have a volunteer program where people register their private cameras with us. And so if there's an incident, we can get footage already pretty quickly, but having a circuit attorney will give us someone to get the evidence to that can actually turn into something reliable in terms of prosecution.
Here's how the program is designed to work. Assistant circuit attorneys are assigned to specific neighborhood associations. Each becomes a consistent point of contact for that neighborhood to work with residents on public safety concerns, assist victims and witnesses in those neighborhoods, and provide transparency with the latest on cases that came from that neighborhood.
I think that it's the only way to move forward, really.
Longtime resident Sue Rainey says the crime isn't bad in Shaw, but wants more transparency and collaboration with prosecutors and police.
A lot of times people think the city is worse than it is, that we're having all kinds of problems. I've been asked in my life, you know, are you afraid to go outside? And like, no, I walk around all the time. I've only been robbed one time in my life, and that was out in West County.
The CNC is designed to close that gap between what people fear and what's actually happening on the street and in the courts. She says the Circuit Attorney's program is only worth it if they take residents' information to prosecute offenders.
I think there is this concept that St. Louis is weak on crime, and we never deal with the issues. And I'm seeing Circuit Attorney Gore be willing to deal with the issues and be willing to see to the needs of the community more than I have seen in the past.
The program is underway in Dutchtown and Mount Pleasant, a part of the southeast side of the city plagued by crime. Academy Sherman Park and Ellendale are also jumping on. What do you think looks different or feels different with the Circuit Attorney's office present here?
People are going to have access, direct access to our office. If something happens in your neighborhood and it's concerning to you and you're wondering whatever happened with that investigation, was anybody ever arrested, was anyone ever charged, you're going to be able to get a direct answer to that question.
Gore says he wanted this program 6 months on the job. He says it existed in a different form under former CA Jennifer Joyce. Is there a type of case or an example that you can explain how that would look differently under this program?
Say there's, in the neighborhood, there's been a series of burglaries. And people are getting together at community meetings and they're saying, you know, this has been a real problem. It appears they may be connected. That's something that they're going to be able to talk with our assistant circuit attorney about. Hey, this is going on. This is a problem. Can you look into it? We can reach out to SLMPD and share the neighborhood concerns with them.
Gore says his goal is to encourage people to not be afraid to come forward because they can see they have the support of their neighbors and community. How do you protect witnesses or victims if they try and reach out to you? How do you ensure their safety?
Well, that's always a concern when you have someone who's been the witness to a crime or a victim of a crime. And they have that support network built in and they know that their neighbors are standing behind them. That makes the whole process less intimidating and less scary, gets more cooperation for us, leads to more effective prosecutions, which will lead to safer neighborhoods.
Gore took over after Kim Garner's resignation with a depleted staff and a major warrant case backlog. Now with more prosecutors hired and that backlog gone, he says the office can focus on hitting the pavement and meeting with residents where they are. What metrics or what ways do you use in a year from now determine whether or not this program is successful?
A big piece of it is going to be, do we have safer neighborhoods, right? We'll be looking at how do people in the community feel? Do they feel better about public safety in their neighborhood?
How does this program help move St. Louis forward when you deal with those barriers?
I think it's just another way of demonstrating to people that we are dealing with the crime issue in the city of St. Louis head on. We have residents and community members who are ready to partner with us in that, and that together we are going to have the impact of creating a safer St. Louis for everyone in the region.
As for residents like Dave Aubrey, he says his neighbors in Shaw have already built a way to help police and the circuit attorney tackle crime. The difference now is the other end is initiating a conversation.
I think you're creating confidence that neighbors can be neighbors, be safe in their homes, in their community, letting their kids be like it used to where they could play freely without fear. I think it'll make St. Louis a great community.
Gore tells me this is just the start. He wants to see this program in every neighborhood of the city, and he says that for anyone wanting to get involved, he wants to hear from neighborhood associations and just engaged residents about how to get his office in their neighborhood. You can find all that information for you inside this story on your First Alert 4 News app.
And we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the progress happening in St. Louis? Email us at forward@firstalert4.com.